So this is Coryn Rivera, and you ride for Team Exergy. So tell me, I'm going to get right into this. Tell me, what are your biggest accolades in the sport this far?
I have won 43 national titles, and I got bronze in Junior Worlds in 2010 in the road race, and another bronze in the track omnium that same year.
43 national titles.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How many years has that spanned over?
It's been 9 years now, and since my first year when I was 12, I got 2 titles in the time trial and the crit, and ever since then it just started racking up, and I had no idea I was going to hit 43. It wasn't like a goal of mine to have like the most amount of national championships, but just over the years I've been doing this for a while.
That is really incredible. Are you married?
No.
How old are you?
I'm 19. I don't need to be.
Oh, you're 19. I have no idea. You're 19, 43 national titles. You look young, but when you have that many national titles at 19, I don't know if you're 25.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Who did you race for last year? Has it always been Exergy, or?
Well, it was the same team last year, but it was just we had a different sponsor. It was Peanut Butter and Company 2012, and this year it's now Exergy 2012 is our team name.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Probably from Kristen Armstrong. She always said that you learn how to win by losing, and most of the time you're going to lose than win, so you learn more. The person who lost is going to learn more than the person who won.
That's a very good answer. Take me through an average week for you. To win 43 titles, what's an average training week for you?
It varies, but throughout the season.
How many hours do you spend on the bike?
Between, 10 and 20.
10 and 20.
Depending on how much racing I've had and, what races I'm going to go into, things like that.
If you weren't a professional cyclist, what would you be doing?
I think it'd be really cool if I, raced MotoGP motorcycles. I think I have huge respect for them, and they ride bikes too. I think that would just be something cool. What
is your biggest win that you consider to date?
Win? My first European pro win last year at Tour de Limousine in France. It was the first stage, and it was raining, and I had already crashed, and I had no idea I was going to be in the break and win out of the girls that I was with. But I don't know how I pulled it together, but I did, and that was my first pro European win.
That's huge. Have you ridden in Europe a lot?
Yeah, I've been racing in Europe since I was 17. I take trips with the USA Cycling national team. First was in Belgium the first year, and then went to Italy and different places. And this year I've been to Qatar and Argentina and El Salvador.
Where do you, when you're riding your bike, where do you get some of your inspiration from?
I'm not one who really idolizes one rider, oh, I'm going to be like them. I just really like to strive for my potential and see where I can go, and not be oh, I want to be like this person, or I want to be like that person. I just want to be myself and find out how good I can be. I'm more of a sprinter.
You're a sprinter?
Yeah, but I guess I'm light enough. Sometimes I won my first pro Euro race, and it was rolly and there was some climbs, but it was a sprint finish with the little break I was in, so I just have a natural instinct for sprinting, so I'm more of a sprinter.
Well, what does it mentally take to ride the bike at the level that you do?
It is a lot of sacrifice and commitment.
Tell me about the sacrifice and commitment.
You can't just be oh, well, I'm not going to train today because I'm going to go hang out with friends. Training is always #1 priority, and it's your life, and and racing and traveling, and you have to miss certain things to travel to a race, and racing, and like you can't go sightseeing. I've been all over the world with the national team, but we almost never take the time to go sightseeing. So it's just those little things that don't matter to racing.
Are most of your good girlfriends in the peloton?
For the most part, yeah. All my good friends are from racing.
Right.
And I've been racing since I was 12, so pretty much my entire life.
Who got you into racing?
My dad. He's always been on wheels, whether it's like motorcycles or mountain bikes or downhill racing, and so I just so happened to get involved with him when he was in racing, or when he was riding road bikes, and he built up this little mountain bike frame and put slick tires on it and drop bars so it'd fit me. I was like 10 or 11 at the time, and that was sort of my first road bike, and I'd do some recreational riding with him, and he was into like centuries and stuff like that, and then he got a tandem, and then I jumped on the back of it, and we'd do centuries and stuff, like solving century and things like that. And then eventually I was like, this is boring, I wanna race. And then there was a kids race in Redlands that I did, and like I trained all year for it, and it was like one lap of the Redlands crit course. I got so stoked, and I won it, and I was like, oh yeah. And then the next year I trained for it again, and it was just this one race every year, and it wasn't, I needed more racing, and I was like, Dad, I need to start racing. And so we got a license, and the rest is history.
That is awesome. What is it going to take to keep you racing your bike at a sponsorship level?
That would have to be like the drive within me to want like my goals, to go to world championships and like to go to the games, and that's like the pinnacle of the sport for women. It's not like men, you can go pro tour and like race the tour and like do Paris-Roubaix. For the girls, like the highest, most like amazing thing you could do in the sport is like to go to the Olympic Games and like to win world championships.
What's it going to take for you to get to the Olympic Games?
Lots of experience and being good in the European peloton, because that's the standard of the sport and is in Europe. So taking more time to be in Europe and learning how they race and everything, and how to win with them.
Who's your biggest competitor that's going to the Olympic Games right now?
Well, I'm not going to the Olympic Games this year, but who knows? It could be anyone in the next 4 years. But this year it's looking like Bronzini's really good, and Teutenberg, and we've got a really good handful of Americans that can.
They don't decide that right now. That's a different time, or when do they decide? Or
for the games this year?
Yeah.
The selection should be within the next couple weeks.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I haven't had any results lately because I had a really bad concussion last year that kind of threw me off track pretty well. But I'm 19, I've got plenty of time, so I'm not too worried about it.
Wouldn't that be special? That would be awesome to see you in the Olympic Games. What should the priorities of a female athlete or cyclist be? That's
a good question, because it's completely different from men's racing. We don't have the money to fall back on like you guys when you go, when guys go big. We don't make millions of dollars. I think, the highest paid female is like barely making 6 figures. But I think the priorities is, school is actually, your education is above cycling, I would say. So, because you'd always have something to fall back on. Like, I go to school at Marion University, and they have a cycling team there, so that's sort of like my higher priority than racing with a team. So I think education is a really important thing.
Well, how do you balance going to college and riding your bike on the schedule that you do?
It's really tough. I'm basically racing for 3 different teams: my collegiate team, and then the national team, and then Exergy. So it's just kind of finding the right balance of those 3 teams and the right, kinds of racing. And obviously collegiate racing is like the #1 priority. So that's like collegiate nationals, collegiate regionals, and then the collegiate races within the season that you have to qualify for nationals. And so that's like the #1 races, and then you can slip in some national team races when you have some free time and when there's no collegiate races. And then throughout the summer, I'd race for Exergy.
What advice would you give to an amateur female cyclist who had a dream of becoming a professional?
You have to keep it fun, especially in women's racing. You don't get much in return. You don't get a ton of money if you win races. So as long as you're having fun and you're enjoying what you're doing, keep doing it. And you can't race for the wrong reasons. You have to race for passion in the female peloton, and you just have to keep it fun.
Awesome. Give us the inside scoop on Team Exergy. Tell us what it's like from a rider's perspective, the positives and the negatives.
It's a great team. We've got a great sponsor, Exergy, based out of Boise, and we've got a team house up there, and we've got some riders living up there. And then we have Kristen, who's our team leader and Olympic champ, world champ, and we've got a great leader, and we've got a lot of good characters on the team, and we're a pretty well-rounded team. What
are one or two things that make you better? Because you're obviously one of the best riders in the country.
Yeah.
So what are one or two things that you think make you better?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just kind of have a good instinct, racing instinct. Like, I love racing and and adrenaline and like whatever it is I'm doing. I kind of turn it into a competition and how to like race. But like in the pack, I don't know. I don't really have to think things through. They just kind of come to me, and I think that's what makes me like good at crits. Is that I'm not like the biggest fan of crits, but I'm good at them because I just have the racing instinct for it.
Well, today we're at the Tulsa Tough, and it's the last day of this 3-race series, and today is Crybaby Hill. Mm-hmm. So what do you expect out of today?
Well, 2 years ago when I did this race, I actually won Crybaby Hill today. I took off with, I think, 4 other people, and we were in a break, and we were just rolling through, and I attacked at the top of the hill on the last lap and held it all the way to the line. But this year, being at college in Indiana, it's totally flat, so I haven't had much, climbing legs in me throughout the year, so we'll see how today goes. It's really up in the air, but I'll really try my best. But either way, I know it's going to be fun because the crowd up there is amazing.
Awesome. Who would you like to thank for getting you into the sport?
My parents. They've been supportive throughout everything, and my dad drives the motorhome in like all of the big races, and they spend a lot of time and money on me, and so I think they are definitely my biggest supporters.
Awesome. Well, we'd like to thank you for coming and spending time with us. You're the first female that we've interviewed, so we're so excited about it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all your girlfriends and your fans will really appreciate it. So this has been great. This is cyclingillustrated.com.
Thank you.